Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, so today I'm bringing you how to set up your camera on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5. This is going to walk you through the best possible ways of taking photos and videos, and it's a lot to unpack, so let's get right to it. So first and foremost, to launch the camera quickly from any screen or any app, all you have to do is double press the power button and that will automatically launch it. It's a very simple way, but one you always want to be able to know to be able to shoot right away. Just double tap the power button and you're there. Now let's get to some of the basics. So for photo, you can of course take your photo just by pressing this button. However, you can also do something called holding it down like this, and that goes into burst mode. So quick and simple, but something you want to know. The other different modes you have is going to be right here between your three cameras. So you have 0.6, 1, and 3, and that's switching between the three cameras you have on the back of the phone. You also can switch to digital cameras, but those are not going to be as clear. You have a 10x zoom, a 30x zoom. I wouldn't go past 10 personally because you are going to get a lot of blurriness at that point. The other thing you can do is you can kind of do a little slide here. So if you actually just slide on those buttons, you can get an in-between feature if you want as well. Just all different functions. But again, one is going to be your best, especially in low light. So I would stick to that for the most part. Now, one quick way to actually improve your photo quality dramatically on any Samsung phone is just by tapping it and then making it less bright. So Samsung phones typically do a brighter photo. So if you go ahead and take a photo and then instead tap it, it's this little icon that popped up. It is one, the focus, but two, it is actually the brightness that is on the photo. So if you take a picture with both of those variants, we can actually see that on this photo, it's kind of washed out, kind of a little too bright than we would actually like it to be. But then if we go to this one, bam, this looks a lot cleaner, a lot better color reproduction in terms of it not washed out as much. It just does a lot better, especially even in the font here. You can kind of see it just, again, more accurate on it. Simple, quick, and easy, but something you definitely always want to do, and that will improve your photo quality dramatically. So always do that. And also in videos, I recommend doing that as well. Then we move on to all the different features up here. So first off, this might be on by default. If it is, I would turn it off. For one, you have filters like warmer, cooler, all these different filters. Just like any other kind of filters, you can customize them as your heart's content. You also have face filters. Now this is on by default in selfie mode, but basically this is smoothness. What that does is it gets rid of wrinkles and acne, gives you that kind of glam look. You also have tone, which can change your tone in terms of skin very weirdly sometimes, but however you want to do it. You also have jawline, can make yourself nice and slim, and you can pop out those eyes if you do want to have anime eyes. So all those are options on there, no problem, just for you to activate. Then you have this one, which I recommend if you do like to have it for a kid or pet. This is called motion photo. It basically takes a few seconds of photos before you take the shot and a few seconds after. And what that does is if you have a blurry shot, it will pick out the best one. So I tend to leave that on. It's pretty good for overall usage. Then you have this, which is your aspect ratio and your resolution. So on this one, you want to note that you have 3x4, which is your standard, 16:9, which is a full screen, or for me, when I make thumbnails, I always shoot in 16:9, 1x1 little square, and then full camera, which is a different aspect ratio. I think it's 21:9 now at this point. And then you have also 3x4s, 50 megapixels. Now, the thing you want to know about this one is that it is limited in terms of its ability. All it's going to do is take a lot of detail in your shot, but you typically only want to do this during the day, if ever. Typically, your 3x4 standard shot will be best. You can also, of course, do your timers and your flashes when and if you want to. I usually leave those off unless I need to for a specific occasion. And then let's get into the settings before we get into all the other modes. First and foremost, we do have screen optimizer, then shot suggestion. I usually leave both of those on. They're just kind of good to have on so you know you're angled right and you know you're taking the best kind of photo. Scan QR code, I would always leave that on just so you can scan a QR code when needed. This is what I showed you earlier. When you swipe down, you can either take a burst or a GIF if you do want to do that as well. watermark. Who wants to leave a watermark on for Samsung? This though is very important. Advanced pictures. You want to make sure to have this off because it's a format, HEIF, which isn't really widely accepted yet. And if you do use Pro mode, I would shoot in RAW and JPEG instead of just JPEG, just because you're shooting in Pro, so I assume you want those fine-tuned, high-quality photos. Now, this next one is really important. You always want to make sure this is off. What this does essentially is it makes sure that instead of your selfie being like this, where any text is always flipped and any text in the image will be flipped, you can have it present as normal, just the way you would if you would typically take a photo. So I always have this flipped just so your text is legible, clear, and easy to read, instead of how a lot of other phones do it, which is like this, and everything's reversed. So it's just a lot nicer. Your selfie will be better just taking it off. Auto frame per second. I typically recommend this because I'm a big fan of shooting at a higher video quality, which is 60 frames, but sometimes if that 60 frames is gonna be poor quality in low light, this will auto correct it. So I typically leave this on now, video stabilization on, and then this one is very important. I make sure to turn this one off. High efficiency videos aren't really the best for a lot of apps still, so I really recommend turning that off. What it does is it compresses the video so it's a smaller size and it looks good, but unfortunately a lot of formats still are not compatible to it. You can prioritize quality instead of just space, so it's not so compressed, but for me, I just rather leave it on and use H.264 until we're using another format that's newer called AV1. All right, and then we move to the bottom here. Tracking autofocus. This is, again, really good for kids and pets, but you can't do that thing I showed you earlier where you tap it and then lower the brightness. So I usually have it off for that reason. But if it's in a thing where like my kid is running around or my dog's running around and I want to take some photos, that's the only time I would turn this on. Otherwise, I leave it off. Then we go to location tags. I usually like to leave that on just because it's simple and easy to always know where I was and look it up, and especially when searching for it later. Shooting modes. One of the most important things you can do is tap that button on right there. That is voice commands. This allows you to say smile, capture, shoot, or cheese, and it will take a photo or record video. This is something that saved me a lot, so I highly recommend it. Turn that one on. Palm showing, this makes you do this, and it will allow it to take a video. As long as you do that in the photo, it will kind of start a timer immediately, 2 seconds, and then take the photo. So always a good thing to have on. Lastly, you have floating shutter button. Now, you used to be able to do this manually on the screen, but now you have to turn it on that way. And basically what it is it's a floating shutter button that you can, instead of taking your regular kind of capture down here, you can just do it right here. So you can just push this button, bam, and that means if it's at a hard angle, you can still be able to tap it very easily without tapping the volume button, because any movement that you do in this camera is going to, of course, not be as good because you're slightly moving it, so it won't be as perfect. And then when you're done with it, you can just drop it down here and then it's gone. All right, settings to keep. I typically use selfie angle. That's the main one I keep. Everything else though, I kind of leave off, but it's up to you what modes you typically use the most. And then you might have this here, you might not. This is Camera Assistant. This is one of the most important features I can show you, but you do have to do something separate from the camera app. So let's go back. This is a really cool feature. You go to the Galaxy Store. So you just type in good luck, and I know I've definitely typed it before. It's the first app I always download on any Samsung phone. Good Luck is basically Samsung's own early beta test for a lot of different features on their phones. However, the beta test is putting it mildly because this is something that most of these features have been tried out for a year to 5 years. And you can only get them on Good Luck, and they're a really high source of personalization. And again, this is made by Samsung's teams that specialize in kind of testing the bounds of new features. It's something that really keeps Samsung ahead of everyone else, in my opinion, in the Android world. In Good Luck, you can download a bunch of new features for your phone, including more personalized lock screens, home screens, clock faces, all these kind of fun things. Under the Life Up section though, there are 3 really highly recommended ones: One-Handed Operation Plus, multi-screen. Go over this a little bit more in a future video, but the most important one for this is Camera Assistant. So Camera Assistant is right here, And these are the things that I recommend. 1, auto HDR, leave that on. Picture soften, I would honestly recommend leaving that off, but I don't like that look. If you're into a lot of filters, then you might want to have it on. Auto lens switching, this is really good because it will switch the lens depending on what you need and the time and the distance. So if you're too close, it will switch to a different wider angle lens. Things like that will be automatically done. I'm okay with that for this phone. I don't do it on the S23 Ultra because that one I want my main camera most of the time. All right, quick tap of the shutter. For me, some people have liked this better. I do not. I find it takes a little bit blurrier photos, to be quite honest. Yes, it's quicker, but I just don't personally like it for me, so I kind of actually turn it off now at this point. I do prioritize focus over speed. I just find that it gives me better overall images with that. And then under capture speed, again, I don't mind holding it for a few seconds under quality. Now, if I am out with my kids for the day, then maybe I might switch to balance. But for me, I'd rather not take it quicker than have it blurry. So this is the most I'll go is balance speed and quality and then prioritize focus over speed. That is kind of happy medium for the most part. While I'm taking practice shots of this during this 2-week period, I'll probably be going over quality just to prioritize and see what the best photos this can take. Video recording in photo mode, means if you hold down the camera button, it will take a quick video and I will show you how that works, and everything else I just leave as is. And in the camera, you can see now when we do hold it down, now it's taking a video. So this is pretty simple and easy. And not only that, but you can also hold it down and then swipe it up now to lock it, and then it will just be in regular video mode. This is really something that wasn't in the beginning, so I love this feature now, and that allows you to take photos and pause the video, also switch between the cameras, which you normally couldn't do in all the videos from before. So really love that you can do that now. Then we do have, of course, video right here. Now, in video, the best format that I recommend shooting in is simply UHD at 60. There are lots of different formats, 8K, UHD 30, FHD 60. But if you want the best video quality, it's really gonna just amaze people how it looks, is UHD 60. Trust me, everyone's always like, wow, that looks so much better than my phone when I shoot in that mode. Right here you have steady shot. This can alter the resolution, so as you can just see, it switched it over to QHD, which is in between 4K and 1080, which I'm perfectly fine with. And then we have that steady hand shot. So it's just gonna be better for shakiness. This is really a great medium. If you are doing something active, it will dramatically stabilize your shot. Really good for the lower quality resolution that you might get because the shot is amazingly steady. So anytime you're active and moving, UHD 60, and then this will put it to a new resolution, but it will be absolutely amazing the way it looks. And then in the more category right here, we have a couple of different added features. And you have regular photo pro mode, you have pro mode for video, which I do want to point out, one thing that pro mode for video has is it does have a lot more resolutions, including 24 frames per second. I really like that for the more cinematic look. It looks more like a movie, and it really looks different, and some people prefer shooting this mode. I say as long as it's not 30 frames, you're gonna have an impressive video, so I recommend that. So I either shoot in 24 4K or 64K, and I think those give you the best overall quality you can get. And the other thing to note in video mode pro or pro video mode is the fact that you can switch up the mics. So in this mode, not only can you switch to a Bluetooth mic, you can actually do both mics on the front and back, only the front mic, only the rear mic, however you want to do it, or even a Bluetooth mix if you do have a Bluetooth headset on. So the person with the Bluetooth can be heard and the person recording can be heard. This is really good for vlogging. So I love these features. They definitely are great for vloggers to personalize the best quality. And then we do have a couple of others, which I just want to point out. The biggest one is going to be director's view. This allows you to shoot with both cameras, hey guys, at the same time. So you can shoot with the main camera, zoom camera, wide camera, and with the ability to move around the selfie camera. So this is something that we lost for a long time, so I never kind of take it for granted now, just because I really can't appreciate it. And then you can either shoot the video as previewed, or you can have this as 2 separate videos, whichever you prefer. And it's just a really great way of having that on when needed. I kind of just like to shoot it as 1 video, but if you do want to separate it, you can. And then you can also do either split screen or just a single shot for switching between them very rapidly. I kind of just always have defaulted to this since this was the original look. All right, and then because this is a fold, we have 2 more features I want to show you guys. The first one is taking a selfie with the opening of the phone to take it with the rear cameras. This is obviously going to be a much better quality camera, so it will be much better than taking it with this one. I always recommend doing this when you're able to. I know it's a little bit bigger and cumbersome, but it's going to look really good when you have it. So I recommend just being able to do that. Very simple and easy, and yeah, you'll love it. The other thing you should know is you can also do 2 more things, and that is previewing, so that when I'm taking a photo, the other person can see themselves in it. So that's always a really good one, and just easy to be able to just show them, hey, you know how to pose because you're looking at it. It's something that I feel like we've lost in a lot of other phones, so I really like that ability to have it. And then a little bit of old school, but I really do appreciate it, being able to take some photos and then being able to immediately see how they turned out. So this is kind of cool just because you can immediately see all the photos you took and kind of have a preview of how it turned out. Like, no, let's take one more, without needing to jump back and forth between the Gallery app and the Photo app. So it really makes it a lot easier. All right, guys, but that was the video. Let me know if you want to see any more tips and tricks on the camera, like editing all the photos. That is a whole nother video in itself. Let me know in the comment section if that's something you want to see. Thank you as always so much for watching, and stay tuned for a lot more videos on the Fold 5. This has been RACKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.
Thank you so much again for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Also, follow me on social media at YouTube Tech Guy. And check out some more great tech videos on your screen right now.